We said to them, if you are white, please leave us. This is a black gathering, a black family gathering. We want to speak to ourselves without feeling like we need to accommodate you. And then they stood up. And then among us, some blacks were trying to defend. But how can you say that? So we realized that we still have a long way as a black people. You know, as much as the enemy is out there, we still have black people who feel like they cannot offend whites. You see, they want to tone and re-edit themselves. They need, they're always constantly changing their thinking just to suit the white person. Like white people can be present even when they are not present.
Yes.
Like we are here now, they are not here. But you can find black people who feel like, I can't say this. Because some white guy out there might be offended. So we chased them out, and it was amazing. And then we sang it. It was a great moment. So yeah, I'm Mahlokwe.
Well, what about those who were defending white people? Did you also chase them?
No, we didn't chase them out.
Oh, okay.
We let them stay, and then after the whole thing, we had to explain to them that was one of our revolutionary actions. To stand up and tell white people to leave. And that's what we need in Africa. We need to tell white people to leave. Because they have indoctrinated us to think that we cannot do anything without them. They have to authorize our thinking, authorize everything. If it's not recognized by them, then it's invalid. They used to say that marijuana, it's illegal. And it grows naturally all over Africa. It's not like somebody manufactured it in some lab. It grows naturally. How can it be illegal? But because white people say it's illegal and they don't have control over it, therefore it's illegal. Now, all of a sudden, marijuana is no longer illegal. What happened? You see? So we have to wait for them to authorize things. Then we can be proud to say, yeah, now we can use it. Where was our so-called leaders when they were telling us that our homegrown plant is illegal? You see, that's the point. That's the point of us chasing them out. We chase them out purposefully to say we want to send a message to say we are black and we're not gonna apologize. And we're gonna chase this white so we can speak freely without feeling scared or feeling like we're offending anyone. There was an event at the State Theatre that we were performing there. White people were there all over the show. But the message that we were delivering that day, I promise you, Helen Zilla was there.
Yeah.
Helen Zilla walked out. when Black Consciousness Poetry took the stage, she didn't know what was Black Consciousness Poetry. So we stood up there and we start gunning. We
Never invited you. You were invited to perform.
We were invited.
But they didn't know exactly.
No, it was a Black Consciousness Poet. They have already siphoned this. They're actually trying to own the brand Black Consciousness.
Yeah.
So now I thought, nothing to worry about. These are just young people. They're just gonna come and it's fine. We took up the stage and it was something else. So yeah, we're gonna start without wasting time. Time is moving, it's flying. We're gonna start with our poetry. We're gonna share with you guys some of our poems. I'm going to start first, if you don't mind. Okay, I'm gonna start first. I'm gonna do 2 poems back to back, and I'm gonna give her a chance to share with you some of her material. The name of the poems that I'm gonna do, the first one is called Time Travels. And then the second one is called Under the White Man. So I'm gonna do these 2 poems back to back. I'm gonna have to stand up for this. Darkest minds of ignorance, time takes its time to inspire a thought. Time travels silently, unseen yet present in all moments of life. Time travels brutally to expose the core. Time has traveled to this time before, a time when the truth has become a distant stranger. Our lives, our humanity is in danger. In these times, it has become easier to tell the lies to the ignorant youth than speak truth to white power. In the final hour, only time can save us from these war troops. Only time can expose the lies and reveal what is truth. Those some truths cannot survive many ages. They are written on the sands of time. When the clock turns, memories fade with no hope to return. Men, women, children, each took a turn to die, for time put them first. In the beginning they were divine. Their faces bear the mark of the Creator. Today history marks them the victims of the invader. When time travels, it must be leaving some wisdom behind. It is time to feed the deaf, dumb, and blind. It is time to put knowledge of self in the pot. For there was a time when men with an inward inferiority put whiteness in the same pot and polluted the whole plot. Turned life into a murderous bloody sport. My military is bigger than yours contest. In that conquest, our ancestors took bullets. Time took minutes. It is time for the brave to address those minutes. For the children wants to hear it. Hurry up. Time has no time to be wasting time. Time travels alone, no associates. That way only time can tell the tales of how men were born royal and died as slaves. In the end, they were last in line. It is dark before day, struggle before birth, black before white. It is time to wake up or sleep for a while. Time to wake up or sleep for a while. It is time to wake up or sleep for a while. But then again, under the white man, the black man is a prisoner of war. He has lost the battle for land and now his home is no more. His language and culture is conquered. His body and spirit is injured. He is sick. He is not sure. He is offshore with no army, no weapons, and no warships to break his chains. He worships the same man who puts him in chains. He has gone insane. He's in the synagogue, the mosque, and the churches. He wants to pray his chains away. He's taking chances every day. He's in pains. He's in chains, invisible mental chains. And so he chants, he marches, he's a politician, he even wears a suit in parliament and speaks so loud, and yet still in his speech the truth remains in chains. He's on a search to re-dignify the black race. He's looking for freedom in the wrong place. In the Constitution and the Freedom Charter he finds more tightening chains. He's on the edges. He even took a chance on the elections to vote for change, and still no chance for the chains to be unchained, and so he remains in chains.
Welcome to Greytown, where the rain never comes down. Though the sky is always grey, empty promises are here to stay. Humid air seducing love to lust, sweaty palms on full-figured moms who fuck in between the zigzags of shacks with their babies on their backs. This is Greytown, where morality has no face, where good and bad are indistinct like the water they drink, flows from the same stream young boys go to swim, love and drown. But not to worry about malaria, plagues are only a badge of belonging in this community. This is Greytown, where the sidewalk is a safekeeping space for old people's dignity. There is no nobility, just hustle and collect people's lost breaths for respect. We live in death, and nobody really cries about it. The rain we are thirsting for is probably the waters they refuse to let flow when life is low. We may not have water, but fire is plenty here. Men are mistakenly set on fire every day, it's justice we say. Burn an innocent man. Put a ring of lies around his neck, weigh him down with another man's mistake. Watch him die and then go home and recite Our Father after trespassing another mother's womb. This is not a home but a tomb. Get me out. Get me out of this crypt where dogs eat baby diapers for breakfast. School children smell like kerosene. These children stare with their yellow eyes and crude skulls. You can count each of their ribs. Mothers smell like their children's piss. Fathers smell like starched socks and sweat, storing boots that will never get washed. This is Greytown, where unemployed men sell religion for an income. The only life insurance is becoming friends with the murderers. Down the street, somebody's naked babies running with an unwiped bum. Boom, a car knocks them down. No death certificates needed, just bury them in secret. We still need her to close the gap of poverty and death. Breaths are not all from life here. This is Greytown. Next door lives the lady who makes unborn babies disappear. Sometimes they die in fear. Single mothers dangerously defining men to their daughters as a symbol of some unknown trauma. So when their brother grows into this man, his presence becomes a trigger. He shoots bullets with his deep voice that creates a deep hole in his mother's heart, and cacophonies begin to echo in her eyes. He reminds her too much of his father. At 16, he is on his departure. Living in a windowless house, he wilts and withers like an unwatered flower, until he dies and becomes something his mother no longer recognizes. See, it started with her eulogizing his gender with her ex-lover's absence. And society was the requiem at the funeral of this boy. We made him a carcass of his father's mistakes. I am from Greytown, where the sun never comes down. On possible Fridays, we sit on top of the roof, smoke a blunt to numb the knowing that this dorm is a soundtrack to unconsensual sex somewhere. This is Greytown, where young men bury themselves in street corners. They sit on top of street names like ghosts preserving their tombstones. Their umbilical cords are still stuck to their bellies. You can still see they are still babies, but Greytown is the anchor that pulls them down and buries their faces and eyes that are still full of the potential of rain. God forbid I die in these Greytowns, but when I do die, tell them to burn my body to ashes. All my life it has lived as a snack for parasites, but for now I will smile and welcome you to Greytown, where the rain never comes down. Though the sky is always gray, empty promises are here to stay. Thank you. This one is my last one. It's called If My Life Was a Riddle. My father was the water that left with the stream. My mother was the wind that traveled, so I was left to be raised by smoke. For a while, home was smoke and mirrors until I found smoke theatrical. The spotlight all to the ignition, and this was my proposition. The matchstick was a tall, lean, and handsome young man, dressed in confidence only to dance with the sides of the matchbox. Shh, smoke. The young man was a messenger all along. Burning with every letter transcribed on his body, he stood, rooted in the fiery sun until he was charcoaled black with old riddles. And then he would bow his head, fold his neck and break his back, to show us that this was not a dance but a trance. Like my grandmother was sending smoke signals with her cigarette she exhaled. The faces of all my ancestors saying, for fire, smoke could be the beginning. For fire, smoke could be the end. So what happens when you are birthed by the wind, raised by smoke and abandoned by water? You become fire. I have come to know that my grandmother was the smoke that raised me. She is a symbol of my beginning. And my father was the water that could extinguish me. He was the smoke to end me. So every time I look over at the horizon, at the ocean of men, I am overwhelmed with fear. They all come bearing promises to baptize me, but I secretly think they have all come to drown me. Thank you.
This one is called Cape Town is a White Man's House.
Yes.
It goes something like this. Cape Town is exile. It is a lockdown, a maximum prison. The darker shades are in mental cages. 21st century slaves. Cape Town is a white man's house. In his house, there is no justice, no peace for the darker shades. We are not living well. We are catching hell while he is catching fish. The method is so stylish. It's hidden behind a flourish English to romanticize the black man's anguish. The language is politically insane. It is not about black and white, they say. Classism over racism is the mask of the day. So let us unmask this day. For slavery, colonization, and apartheid is the past that systematically made blacks a lower class. Clearly, the white man's heaven is a black man's hell. No wonder why the black man still lives on the dump site. He lives in Kaeli Chagugule to Emfuleni. That's a white man's dump site. In Silipi Samora Nyanga in Danun. That's a white man's dump site. He lives in Eastern Refill, Kells River, Hanover Park, Grassy Park, in Manningbek. You can mention many of them. That's a white man's backyard. That's where my colored class dwells. When the morning swells, hunger and poverty strikes. Whether backyard dwelling or dump site living, our insignificant differences both lose meaning. For both we must go back the white man for a living. Spend daytime hours of kneeling in his house, in these government buildings, Sanlam buildings, BP and Shell garage stations, in these Anglo-American mines on the African soil, in these London mines known as Lone Mill in Marikana, in these retail stores, wrapped up in uniforms, kneeling and begging, paying the price of being black, working ourselves to retirement and to death, robbed of our self-worth, blacks all over this earth, reduced to domestic workers in service of the white man's breath. For all we do is clean his house, this Cape Town. When the night falls in overcrowded taxis, buses and trains, we have to leave town. It's a lockdown. We can't be there around that time. Doesn't that sound familiar? Memory should be our best friend, for the white man prefers a dog at his side. A reminder for those who strive to befriend him. This is a white man's house. This poem, it doesn't necessarily address Cape Town. You can apply it all over the world where black people are. So it's just somehow I reference it to Cape Town because that's where I wrote it. But it addresses any place where black people are. We are always the donkeys and the asses of white people. My last poem will be Our Story, and I'm done for the day. It's called Our Story. But you and I are conquered people. Our bodies might be young, but our thoughts are so old. We are still slaves, like those who were bought and sold. Our story must still be told. You and I are one people, I am told. Divided and conquered souls, kept apart by artificial walls, invisible mental chains, suffering from socially inflicted black pains. Our master is still on a capitalist gain. Nothing has really changed. We are still in chains, invisible mental chains. Our story must still be told. We are the cheap labor exploited by all rich folks. We are the donkeys, the horses, and the asses of this earth. Blacks all over this world. We never got a chance to catch our breath. Yet everybody else had a chance to ride on our backs. Smiling all the way to the banks, the Arabs, the Asians, Caucasians, they all took a turn to enslave us. They all took a chance to tame us from slavery to colonization, segregation to democracy. Our story must still be told. The story of graduating from school to go work in the plantation. The story that begins with slave labor without any compensation, to the story of cheap labor with a master's degree qualification. This story of being miseducated well enough to serve our masters is a story that led us to white domination and disaster. A story that taught us how to defend and serve the system that subjugate us, taught us how to be compatible and happy with our conquered state of being. This story must still be told. The story of ghetto life existence never gets old. The story of shackyard dwelling is never ending. The story of dumpside living is dehumanizing. The story of being on our own, no one else on our side. The story of genocide, the story of self-rejection, the story of humiliation, the story of human rights violation, the story of freedom fighting while being scared of revolution. the story of freedom fighting while being scared of revolution.
So, in honor of Zim Nqawana, that I should just play this for you. So this is a house pipe. Yeah, so you know.
Thank you very much, Blackhouse Kollective, once again for inviting us, and we hope we'll be visiting you guys again very soon. It's been a pleasure. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will invite you guys.
The plantation.
See the plantation.
Yeah. So this is Uati. It's a Xhosa instrument. It's an indigenous instrument that I play, along with other instruments that I play. But this one is the one that I could bring. And I do 2 songs for you. One is an original, which is called Ndingandagandini. And I write most of my music in Xhosa, because I don't speak Xhosa as well. So I find expression with my mother tongue through music. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Bontinga, 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 ntinga wena takane. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Tinga wena ntakade ne. Tinga wena ntakade. Bontinga. 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 Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga. 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 Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Bontinga ntinga wena ntakade. Tinga wena ntakade ne. Tinga wena ntakade ne yo. Eyo. Eyo. Bontinga. 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 Oh, yo. And this is a cover by Mama Nkuluma Dosin. So I would like for you guys to help me, because I normally have people sing with me and they give me the energy. And I feel these claps are many languages, eh? I don't know why. But I'd like you, if you can, ulandele ngokuthi Demka ehlungulwane. Demka ehlungulwane. Demka ehlungulwane. Demkane hlungulwane, 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 demkane hlungulwane. Yaga yaga, yaga yaga. Yaga yaga, mama go. Yaga yaga, yaga yaga. Go in mama, go in mambo. Yaga yaga, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane. Demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane. Oh yaga yaga, demkane hlungulwane, yaga yaga, oh yaga yaga, yaga yaga, demkane hlungulwane, oh yema, demkane hlungulwane, oh yema go. Yaga yaga, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, yo. Demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, mama. Demkane hlungulwane. Demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane, demkane hlungulwane. Yaga yaga, demkane hlungulwane. Siyabulela Sizathu. Nani. Nisiphethe kahle mana apha. Umphefumulo wami uphumlile. Siyabulela.
Yara le gusto. Ay. Kita mau itu suka China man.